it's Lindsay and my co-host Maximus, and we are here today to talk about the book that got me an agent, specifically 25 fun or kooky facts about the book itself. I know some of you guys are nosy like me, so it's just, you know, a fun time. Where did my notes go? What did you do with my notes? You're a terrible secretary. The Glass Witch is pitched as Dumplin meets Hocus Pocus. When I first got the inkling of an idea to write this novel, I really thought it was gonna be like a very literary leaning middle grade about this like girl who lives in the woods with these 3 grandmothers. I don't know the relationship of the grandmothers or why she had 3, but I knew she had 3, and they lived in almost like a hobbit house or a hobbit hole in the middle of the woods. And I just wanted it to be this very soft, quiet, elegant, pretentious story. And then, you know, I started outlining it, and I threw in like a ghost hunter and like a ticking time bomb, and I was like, nope, this is commercial. Whoops. This book has some of the funnest settings that I've ever gotten to write in. We've got like a haunted house, a rabbit sanctuary, a creepy cornfield, a whole Halloween town festival, and even like, you know, it's a book about pageants, so it's like, you know, all of the pageantry and a pageant stage and all that stuff. Without being too spoilery, I have a very fun magic system in my book. It's called Kindred, and it's basically where different familial relationships can do different types of magic. So maybe mother-daughter magic is really good for protection spells, or sister magic is really good for, I don't know, like cursing or whatever. One of my favorite parts about this book is that I wrote little tiny mini, almost like vignettes to break up the main characters' chapters in the villain's POV, which was so fun, getting into this like 300-year-old pilgrim witch hunter's mind and how he talked and how he thought. It was so fun, and it's one of my favorite parts of the books. In fact, I think my favorite chapter I've ever written is in the villain's point of view, his very first one, after my main character Addie initiates the curse and the hunter rises, and it's kind of like this creepy poem, but it's told in his perspective, and he doesn't quite think like humans, so everything's kind of like all over the place. I don't know, you'll just have to read it one day, baby. Another fact. Okay, I do this in almost every book I write, and you would never know who unless you literally dissect every character in my book, but I always have at least one character in each of my books that have like their name anagrammed to mean something about their personality or their position in the book, something. I did that in this book, and I just feel like so brilliant, and like no one would ever know, and it's not like I could tell people because then it would like maybe ruin the twist or something, but like I just have so much fun doing that, and it's just like a little thing where I sit in my little dark corner and I'm like I know I've mentioned it before too, but this book has a 24-hour timeline. That is it. We follow Addie for 24 hours, and I didn't know if I could pull it off, but I think I did a pretty nice job. And how I did that was I watched Hocus Pocus, which is the comp, and in fact Hocus Pocus only has a 24-hour timeline too. So yeah, that was something I didn't know I could do, but I think it really helped with the stakes and the tension, because you know you've got a deadline and you've got to do something before the time runs out, right? So yeah, I watched Hocus Pocus to help me figure out how to do a 24-hour timelined story well. My main character Addie, if I had to like fan cast her, she would look like, is her name Ermagerd? Ermagerd from The Little Princess. The Glass Witch is honestly the easiest book I've ever written. Tobe, my current novel, is giving me a lot more difficulties, and so did When the Sea Came for Us, the book I wrote before it. But The Glass Witch was such a breeze. From the first time I started brainstorming until I sent the first query, it was only 6 months. Like it was just God sent. It was a wonderful process. I'll probably never get that again. So my main character is a baker, and because of that, there are so many fun baking metaphors in this book. It, like, I've had beta readers say like it just makes you hungry while you're reading it, because my main character, she just thinks in cooking, baking, cakes, sugars, like that's how she makes sense of the world. So that was really fun to play with that. So there's an animal companion in my book, and her name is Rosie. She's a little white rabbit with red eyes, and originally in my outline her name was supposed to be Ruby, because she would have had ruby eyes. And then when I started drafting, I just forgot I named her Ruby and thought it was Rosie and started writing Rosie. I did not realize until I was already querying that I had put the wrong name in. I mean, it worked. It's very close. It still worked, but now she's Rosie and I can't change it back, even though she was supposed to be Ruby. But now, like, Rosie has my heart. Like, she has her own persona. I can't change it now. So my main character's best friend, Fatima, is, I was gonna say probably, no, she is my favorite character that I have ever written, ever. I love her so dearly. I hope that you guys get to meet her one day. She is absolutely fabulous, and she is actually named after my best friend. Her middle name is Fatima, so we have Fatima, and then guys, her last name is Tahir, and yeah, my friend Fazila Fatima, she always she always makes fun of me. She's like, you just named her after your favorite Pakistanis, and I was like, I did. One of the parts of my book that's so tiny but so precious is, you guys, are you ready for this? I have an old people romance. That's right. That's right. I have a romance between the main character and her best friend's grandparents. They're falling in love, and you watch it and it's beautiful and it's everything I've ever wanted. Okay, going back to the whole kindred magic system thing where like different family members and their relationships have different types of magic they can do. I also have soulmate kindred in my book, where obviously like if you're soulmates with someone, you can do a specific kind of magic. And both my CP Lady Cress and my agent was like, yo, like I'm gonna need you to write like an adult or a YA romance that's like based on this magic system. And now I'm just like, oh my gosh, like my next book can be a YA. We can just like age Addie up and it can be about her like falling in love. I'm not gonna do it, but it is a cute idea. One of my favorite tropes to explore in any age category I write is messy families. And this is the messiest I've ever written. The book starts out with my main character trying to get revenge on her mom because she's mad at her, but she's also a 12-year-old, and like, you know, her revenge has to be petty because she's a child. So she's got a problem with her mom. Her mom is estranged from her sister and her grandma. They all have to get together in the beginning. It's really awkward, and like the family tensions and the arguments and like how everything boils over is just chef kiss. So I might have mentioned this a long time ago, but whenever I get a good story idea, whether it's like a character idea, a theme I want to explore, a plot point, whatever, I always write it down on a note card, and I have this little stacked card thing of all of my ideas. And sometimes what I do is I periodically go through them and I see if I can combine any of the note cards to make a fun story. I've done this multiple times, and in fact I did this with the Glass Witch. I can't remember exactly how many cards I put together, but I think it was at least 3, maybe 4. And yeah, when I put them all together, it made the Glass Witch. So I always recommend keeping your little story nuggets all together and like seeing if you can combine them. It worked really well for me. It took me a while to figure out what my main character's name was gonna be. I bounced back and forth a lot between Adelaide, which is her name, Adeline, or Penny, and I thought they were all so cute, but in the end I ended up going with Adelaide, and then, you know, all of her friends and family call her Addie. Oh, and this one's really fun. So I always, again, for my own enjoyment, literally no one would know, but I always put little Easter eggs of my previous books that I've written in all of my new books. Who do I think I am? I don't know. But yeah, so there is a scene in The Glass Witch where I make a direct reference to When the Sea Came for Us, my like fat disabled mermaid book, and that was super fun. And actually one of my CPs caught it. She was like, oh my gosh, that's Miera from When the Sea Came for Us, and I was like, you got it, oh my god. It was so fun. So I'm definitely gonna keep on that tradition because it just makes me happy. So in Tobe, I will have both When the Sea Came for Us and The Glass Witch Easter eggs. Look out if they ever get published in 4 years when you get to read them all. I know some people are curious about word counts, and my first draft was 22,000 words, and my last draft, or my 5th draft, was 36,000 words. The Glass Witch takes place in a little town that's a cranberry farming town named Cranberry Hollow, and it was definitely inspired by Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls. I just loved the little tiny New England town where everyone was like in each other's business, and it was small and quiet, but everyone's nosy. You know how it is. You know how small towns are. I loved it. So that was 20 facts about the book that got me an agent. As you can see, I'm just so in love with this book. I love talking about it. I hope you guys get to read it one day. It is just, I don't know, I find it so fun. If you're an adult that likes escapist middle grade, like it's just, I don't know, I just, But now, like I told you guys, I'm nosy. So I want to know about your projects. So down in the comments, leave me like, I don't know, 1 to 3 fun facts about your book. Something that's quirky, something that's hilarious, something that most people don't know about your book. I want to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.